All right, and there's another thing that Grandma did. Tell us what you know about her experiences with 6 for 1.
6 for 1.
6 for 1. She used to listen
she
to
used to
CJVI.
listen. I think she won something one time. I'm not sure what she won, but I think that she did win something one time. You know?
Okay, so tell us what you know about what 6 for 1 was on CJVI. Do you remember that?
Well, I think it was just something.
It was a radio quiz show.
Yeah, it was. And I don't know, I guess you had to answer. I don't remember too much because I wasn't always around her when she was listening to.
You were at work and she was at home on wherever she was.
Yeah.
And this is just a little bit that I can add here.
Yeah.
That she and Velva used to communicate back and forth. They would ask questions on the radio.
Yeah.
During the after music and stuff like that, and then if you had all of the questions right and they phoned you, then you had a chance to answer all the questions and perhaps win a prize.
Yeah.
And that's what she used to play.
Yeah, she did, and I don't know what she won, but I know there was one time she did win something.
Well, good for Grandma. All right, now Clausen, Bill.
Yeah.
What would you like to tell us about your brother Bill? There's some highlights about Bill that you could like to share.
Well, let's see.
Where did he live?
He lived with us on like the boys lived with us like on what's that street that goes down from Tommy's school. He lived there with us there.
All right.
And I remember we used to go out. He used to have an old Ford, and he used to take us out to Island View Beach on a Saturday or a Sunday, and he would be going out around one of the bends, and he was going 40 miles an hour, and we thought that was an awful speed at that time, you know. But it would be nothing now, you know.
So Island View Beach, why did you go to, what did you guys do at Island View Beach?
Well, we lived down there all, like a lot of the...
In the summer?
In the summer. And Uncle Hal and Fred and Steve built a cabin down there. And Auntie Lyd would go down there with all her tents. She'd take a cooking tent and a sleeping tents and all that. And we used to stay down there all the summer. We used to walk all the way from Island View Beach up to the farm on Central Saanich to pick berries and do cultivating for Uncle Fred and Hal. And so we always lived at Island View Beach all summer. And the Mitchells had they had an old shack there, and it had a big veranda on it. And they used to have, anybody had talent shows there. And people would get up and do different things as a talent
down on the beach.
on that old veranda down on the beach. And then we used to collect too. We had to get all the firewood because we used to have a big bonfire every night down there. And now that's not allowed. But you imagine all the great big bonfire we used to have, and half the time we would go swimming in the evening because the water by that time would come over the warm sand and warm the water, and so we'd go swimming at that time at Island View Beach, you know, and that's pretty cold water. But we seemed to be able to survive.
So Uncle Bill or Clausen used to drive, at some points he used to drive you from
used to
Victoria
drive
out there.
us out there.
And they get out there, and then once you were there, you used to walk from there up to pick berries at Fred's.
And everything, and we'd have a tent. Jean and I would have a sleeping tent for ourselves, because Jean would be with me, and so we'd walk up there, and Auntie Lyd was the boss, you know.
And Auntie Lyd was your mother's sister.
Sister, yeah. And she'd crack the whip, you know, and make sure we were working. And
so maybe that's where she learned her skills to socialize when she used to make her parties for all the servicemen. But that's another story.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice that Auntie Lyd did all that.
Yeah, well, she looked after all of us.
All
you
right.
know, And I don't know Uncle Sid. I guess he must have stayed at home and he used to come out on the weekends, you know, because he worked for what biscuit company?
Ormond's?
Ormond's. Yeah, he worked for Ormond's Biscuit Company, and so he was a very nice man.
He sure
Yeah,
was.
He was. Yeah.
Now,
Elwin
Merlin.
took after him, I thought.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
And Merlin, what that we all as kids knew as Uncle Fat.
Fat. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us what you would like to tell us about Merlin.
I don't know how he got the name Fat, because he wasn't really fat. He might have been as a kid. He might have been chubby. I don't know, because I wasn't born then. Because they were like Pierce was 9 years older than me, and Fat was 2 years older than that, and Bill was 2 years older than that. So Vern and I were 9 years and 11 years younger than they, you see. But Bill they used to have the fairgrounds out off Cadova Bay, the big fairgrounds every year. And Bill always took us to the fairgrounds, Vern and I.
Cordova Bay.
You know, you go out Fort Street out.
Oh, this is the old fairgrounds. The old Willows.
Yeah, Willows
it's Swartz Oak
Fairgrounds.
Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was quite a thing. We always looked forward to going. And Bill would always make sure that we got to the fairgrounds every year, you know. And so it was most interesting.
All right,
You know.
and did Merlin or Uncle Fat, did he play basketball?
Yes, Pierce and Fat played basketball. And they played basketball at the Saanich Fairgrounds Hall, the old Saanich Fairgrounds Hall. And that was across the street from where we lived on East Saanich Road. And they would play basketball. And Uncle Dink, he was the coach. And then Bud Mitchell and a few of those would be playing, and Ralph and Mitchell's, and they would be at the hall too. So it was quite a place, that was.
A real social area,
Yeah.
a lot of it revolved around sports.
Sports, yeah.
They were all sports
All
enthusiasts.
sports enthusiasts.
And now,
yeah.
did Steve Bate, did he play basketball too? Steve?
Not really.
Okay.
You know, I don't.
But Pierce did.
Yeah, but Pierce and Fat did, and I think Steve did too. I think Uncle Steve used to play. I forget now exactly, but he was always there, interested in what was going on, you know. And Uncle Dink, I don't know how he got that name, because his name was Walter, really.
Walter Bate.
Walter Bate. But they were all short, chubby people, but very sports-minded.
Yes.
And Valerie and Shirley were,
Now,
too.
Valerie and Shirley were Walter's daughters.
And they had horses. And they used to ride up and down the rows with the horse.
Between the
Between
Loganberries.
the Loganberries, you know. But they had I don't know why they had a horse or whatnot, but they did, you know. But Auntie Iola was a lorry, and all that property where the lorries is now gone.
Yeah, and Auntie Isla is Walter's wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Uncle Pierce, he's an interesting guy.
He was a policeman.
No, we're talking about your
Uncle.
brother Pierce.
Oh, I see.
Your brother Pierce. He did landscaping and things like
Yes,
that.
he did.
And did he work for anybody in particular that was
I
special?
think he designed the Abcassie Gardens. Him and Bill designed the Abcassie Gardens. Uncle Hal worked there too. And they have somewhere there's pictures of them in that gardens. They were up on the rock by the pool, big pool by the house. But Pierce designed that garden. Pierce and Bill.
And Vern worked a little bit there too.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Uncle Hal
okay.
as well.
All right. And Auntie Helen told me that Vern's initials